we're actually going to be making today. I just want you guys to think about certain fall items or food items that your mom would make or your dad, or that you personally like to make during this time of the year, since it is getting more cold and you want to have a more hearty, wholesome, warm meal instead of having something super dense and full on your stomach. That might just be a little too much. Do you think of certain dishes that involve like squash or soups or certain types of spices like thyme or sage? Well, and if your mind's kind of rattling certain foods that you love to make, well, I'm gonna add another one you can add to your recipes, and it's going to be stuffed acorn squash. And it's gonna be stuffed with ground turkey, which I have right here, and then mushrooms, onions, celery, apples, and anything honestly you would want to add, you totally could. This dish is able to be made in several different varieties, and you can add and subtract anything you would like. For the initial step, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and I already have that going right now. And you're gonna wanna get an acorn squash that's about a medium size, so about this round, and you'll split it in half, and you'll put a tablespoon of butter, minced garlic, and then sage, about a tablespoon of that, and you're going to cut the acorn squash in half, and then douse the butter, garlic, and sage mixture on top of it. And then when it gets out of the oven, it's going to look like this. If you want a closer look to it, a little sliding. And you want them to be tender, and they're going to have a very golden appearance to them. Then, once those are cooking, it'll take about 50 to 60 minutes. In that process, you're gonna go ahead and cook the ground turkey, which I am about to do now. And that'll take about 10 minutes. You're gonna just make sure it's thoroughly cooked through. And so I'll be right back, and I'm gonna cook this. While that's cooking, I'm gonna go over a few things that are gonna be a little bit unnecessary. You're of course gonna need a stove and an oven to keep this going. And then you're also gonna need a rubber spatula like this one, and then just a normal spatula to be able to cook the meat. And then you'll need a pan, some aluminum foil to put the acorn squash on, a bowl for the mixture and the meat, and then you'll need some measuring spoons as well. So you'll need a 2 tablespoon, a 1/3 cup, half a cup, and then I just use these little small containers. They're 2 ounces, and so 2 ounces is about 1/4 cup, or you just need 2 ounces in general. So the ground turkey is almost finished. And once it's done cooking, we'll just put it in one of these bowls, because for this recipe, you're only gonna need 4 ounces for it. Once the ground turkey is completely done and it has no more pink in it, you're gonna go ahead and add half a cup of apples, preferably red. I chose Honeycrisp for this one. And then you'll need 2 ounces of finely diced mushrooms, a 1/4 cup of diced onion, and then half a cup of chopped celery. And then you'll add that into the pan, let it cook for about 3 to 5 minutes so everything's softened up, and then you'll add it into this bowl with the 4 ounces of ground turkey. Okay, now the ground turkey is all done, and I had it just thrown into this one container, and then I used my food scale to just weigh out 4 ounces, and I go ahead and put it into this bowl. And then after this was all put into the container, I went ahead and put the apples and the vegetables on the stove. And so now those will cook, again, like I said earlier, for about 5 minutes. And then we'll wait till that's done. And once those are done, we'll add them back into this bowl with a 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs, and then 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan, along with 1 beaten egg white. Okay, so the vegetables are done cooking now, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer these into the bowl, and I already have added my Parmesan and my breadcrumbs. So just go ahead and scoop that in there, and then the one thing I love about this dish is that you don't even have to use ground turkey or anything. You could use possibly like jackfruit or a tofu mixture to just be able to like have it as a non-meat alternative. And so Or you could also add like zucchini, bell peppers, anything like that that you really like, because some people don't really like celery, and I don't blame them. And then we'll go ahead and add our 1 beaten egg white, and it will have a little bit of a foam to it, so you want it to make sure it's really beaten. And then you're just go ahead and mix everything together in this bowl. And then once everything is mixed together, that is when you're gonna go ahead and add half of it into 1 acorn squash, and then you're gonna add the other half into the other one as well. And you don't wanna make sure you're like mixing it like aggressively. You wanna make sure you're folding the ingredients and incorporating them very well together. So you can see that it's pretty well mixed together, I would say. We're gonna go ahead and grab our acorn squash that's already been cooked, and then when you cook them, make sure you flip them upside down so they don't burn. And now go ahead and you're just gonna scoop in about half in there. See how it fits? If it overflows and falls out, it's okay, you know, you'll still eat it, it's edible. And then if you feel like you have like way too much, go ahead and like pack it down in there, because everything's basically cooked. You just have to make sure that you're like getting like the breadcrumbs crispy. You want the cheese to melt a little bit. You know, it's gonna be good either way. And then, so now that everything is on top of here, you're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven for about 18 to 20 minutes until everything looks nice, golden, and crispy. All right, and now it's been 18 minutes and it was in the oven at 400 degrees. And this is the final product. What you're looking for at the end is it has a nice crisp golden color to the breadcrumbs and the grated cheese. And that's all. It does take a little bit with the initial step due to the having to cook the acorn squash prior, but let me tell you, it is so worth it in the end, because your whole entire apartment, house, wherever you live will smell like fall. Now, you can go ahead and enjoy this very hearty meal that has a good source of protein from the turkey, fats from the butter, and then the starchiness and the micronutrients from the vegetables and the acorn squash. Now, I hope you guys go ahead and try this for yourself and enjoy.